A dance to function. In this dance, I celebrate the mountain. Exercise.
It hasn't always been easy. Once I was rotten. I looked rotten. I thought rotten. I could tell by the way people stared away from me that they were thinking, there goes a rotten kid. So I decided to convert. I studied to be nice. At first it was pure affectation. Outside I did favors, lent money, smiles a lot. But inside I stayed rotten. But give niceness an inch and it takes a mile. Niceness ran amok inside of me. I became a saint. When I came into a room, people's eyes started to tear. I got dependent on it. I got nicer and nicer. Even when it wasn't required, I was nice. Guys wouldn't talk sex in front of me. Girls began to think of me as a friend. I gave my analyst guilt feelings. I tried to cut down, but I'd lost the power of choice. I was hooked on nice. Not that I'm complaining, mind you.
How do you do, Mr. Mercandiler? I'm your grown-up.
You're my what?
Surely you've always wanted a grown-up. Somebody who takes care of those petty day-to-day affairs which so complicate one's life and who handles them cleanly and efficiently. Somebody who will not allow your insurance to lapse, your rent to fall overdue, your car to break down. Somebody who will not be nervous about calling the landlord about repairs, the girlfriend about breaking a date, the boss about a needed raise. In other words, somebody who is trained to do all those adult things too many of us have been asked to do since childhood and still can't quite manage. Somebody who is willing and happy to stand on your own 2 feet for you, to fight all your battles, to make all your difficult decisions, i.e. your grown-up.
You mean I won't have to make a decision ever again?
Once in your employ, I, your grown-up, will make all of them.
It's unbelievable. It's what I've dreamed of all my life. What do you want me to pay you?
Gee, I don't know. What do you think I'm worth?
my husband gave it to me. It's the wrong color. It's the wrong style. It's the wrong present. And he's the wrong husband. Every Christmas I realize that. I'm quite right. I talk too much. I'm quite right, so it's interesting, but nevertheless, I talk too much. You see, already I'm saying more than I should. Men hate it for a woman to blurt out, "I'm right." They think she's really saying, "I'm brighter than you are." As a matter of fact, that is what I'm saying. I'm brighter than he's the brightest man I know. That's why it's a mistake to talk too much. Men fall behind and feel challenged and grow hostile. So when I'm very attracted to a man, I make it a point to talk more slowly. When I went to one of my woman friends, and because I guide him along gently from inside to inside, he ends up being terribly impressed with his own brilliance and with mine for being able to keep up with him. And he tells me I'm the first woman he's met who's as interesting as one of his boyfriends. That's love.
You never come near me anymore.
That's not true.
There is a gulf widening between us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I used to know your every waking thought.
Who thinks anymore?
I must know where I stand.
I'm as close to you as ever.
Then say the words I want to hear.
I love you. I always love you.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
I wear a paper bag over my head. When I feel happy, I wear a red paper bag. When I feel depressed, I wear a blue paper bag. When I feel ordinary, I wear a brown paper bag. When I feel grand, I wear a carton. Yet people still insist on telling me I'm afraid of showing emotion. How else do you show emotion?
All the marriages we know.
Cracking up.
4 last month.
2 the month before.
All our age.
All married about the time we were.
The husband's drinking too much.
The wives going back into analysis.
The wife's becoming more assertive.
The husband's becoming bitter.
Makes you wonder how we've survived.
Never fighting.
Never drinking.
Never going back into analysis.
I guess it's because we don't love each other.
A lot to be said for settling for second best.
First thing I do every day is get up and put on my body. Next, I screw on my head, clip in my eyes, paste on my nose, and cut a hole out for my mouth. Then I spray the whole thing with fixative and go to work. By mid-morning, my eyes are gone. By noon, I have lost the use of my mouth. By late afternoon, I can hardly breathe through my nose. And by toilet time, the only thing still working is my body. So I crash home and give it a bash. Wakes up. I give my head a drink. It wakes up. My date comes. I spray on some fixative and we go out dancing. He calls me his dream girl. A dance to 1977. This year's dance attempts a more sophisticated approach than my dances of previous years. It rejects the too easy alienation of my dance of 76. It illuminates the stylish disillusion of my dance of 75. It shuns the boastful nonconformity of my dance of 74. It denies the egocentric idealism of my dances of 73, 72, 71, and 70.
This year's dance is strictly pragmatic, realistic in its appraisal of the world, unsentimental in its summing up of my position in it. A dance to 1977.
Most men want me to be dependent, but I don't want to be dependent. Because when I'm dependent, I pick the wrong men to depend on, and they betray me. On the other hand, when I'm independent, I attract the wrong kind of man who gets so dependent on me that in order to break free, I betray them. Someday I will meet a man who won't be dependent, and who won't expect me to be dependent, and he won't betray me, and I won't betray him. And that will be love.
You have cottage cheese on your chin. Why don't you ever wipe your chin after you eat? You're 31 years old. You're old enough to learn how to use a napkin. You're 31 years old. You started to get wrinkles. It doesn't help when there's cottage cheese along with the wrinkles. And if it's not cottage cheese, it's egg. And if it's not egg, it's tuna fish. And if it's not on your nose, it's in your hair. How do you manage to get it in your hair? I'm sorry, but I can't take it anymore. Supposedly mature woman with all that cottage cheese and egg and tuna fish on your chin and your nose and your hair? I want a divorce!
Listen, world, you know what I did today? I read a book! Okay, I started a book. Yes, I did. A big book, world, a classic. I got it out of the bookcase and I started right then reading it. And you know how far I got before my mind began to wander? I got all the way to page 5 before I turned on the TV. And hey, you know what was on the TV? The movie version of this book. How lucky can one girl be?
Fraud. Families are a fraud. Friends are a fraud. Work is a fraud. Faith is a fraud. Love. Love is when you get together with one other person to protect yourselves against fraud. And what did I say next?
You told me you loved me, and you were sorry for the way you treated me. Don't you remember?
Oh, sure. Sure. Then I took you home, right?
No. You wanted to go on a ferry ride. Don't you remember? You apologized to me all the way, both ways.
Sure, that's right. Then I took you home.
No. Don't you remember? We couldn't find a taxi, and you said it was all your fault because you were such a rotten guy, and you began to cry.
I'm not sure I remember that.
And I said you were just a lonely guy, and you just had a little bit too much to drink, and why not? Everybody has that right on New Year's Eve.
It's a very understanding thing to say.
Then you asked me to marry you. Remember? Remember? Went on. Do you or do you not remember? Ooh.
What a terrifying way to start a year.
Cherry down at the office, he's fooling around behind his wife's back with Renee the bookkeeper. You know what I tell him?
John, I'm going crazy.
I say to him, Jerry, I don't understand you guys who go fooling around with other women. My Joni is 6 different kinds of woman. That's enough for one man.
Please listen, John.
She's a wife, mother, sweetheart, daughter, sister, best friend. How many women can a guy want?
John, I'm going crazy.
Every night I tell him it's a new experience. For 15 years I come home, Joni's waiting there with a surprise.
Please listen for once, John.
So, here I am at home again, baby. Who are you gonna be for John tonight?
Myself.
Why? When I'm in such a good mood, do you have to start a fight?
I always used to notice girls on the bus. They were writing in a notebook. I'd figure they were writers, and I'd want to go over and start a conversation about how I used to write a lot in school, and I was going to do it again someday. And they'd be able to tell by the way I talked and my personal charm and everything that if I ever wanted to, I could be a very good writer. And then, to show them that I wasn't a lot of hot air, I'd say names to them like Updike and Salinger and Albee, you know, so they'd begin to trust me and let me look at what they'd written. And it would be great. Really great. Not quite as great as what I could write if I ever got around to it. Less great. But great. And then I'd make a few criticisms, you know, about sentence structure. Things that would show that I knew what I was talking about. When they'd get off the bus, they'd be surprised. Because instead of getting off with them, I'd say, goodbye. And then they'd know that I wasn't just a phony trying for a pickup. And they'd be very impressed with me. And that's all I want. I just want someone to be impressed with me. Me. Me, me, me. Me, me, me. Me, me, me. Me.
I used to watch them ads. You know what I mean? Even your best friend won't tell you ads. And it used to bother me because if you're a right guy, I mean, you're nice to your mother and everything, then what kind of a girl is it who'd throw you over because of the wrong toothpaste you used? Or what kind of a phony friend is it who'd spend his time not drinking with you but smelling you? And then it would bother me how the people in the ads would become popular overnight by changing brand names. I mean, they didn't change their insides. They weren't better people, but suddenly they changed brand names and become pride of the regiment. Well, this used to bother me because, frankly, people have never taken to me. Like at the job, the only desk during breaks where there isn't a steady buzz of conversation is mine. Nobody ever comes over to me. I always gotta go over to them, all my life. When I was a kid and three of us walked down the street, I'd never be in the middle. I'd always be on the gutter side. I never got asked to join up with any clubs. I went through the entire army without once being invited to play cards. And I admit, sometimes I used to wake up in the middle of the night dripping sweat. And going on and off in my head like a big neon sign was bad breath. Underarm odor, bad breath. I got married, and my wife treated me like a janitor. The only thing she could say nice to me was, I was good with my hands. When the otherwise boasted about their husband's talents, she called me in to fix the sink. So at parties, I do my famous fixing the sink bit. And the rest of the time, we were acquaintances. More and more in the back of my head, it went, change your soap, change your toothpaste, but I don't know. I always felt that I'm me. For better or worse, I'm me. And then my kids, who my wife says are at a sensitive age, began to make insensitive cracks. So finally I gave in. I changed my brand of toothpaste, my brand of hair oil, my brand of soap, and my suit style. And son of a gun, the ads were right. My wife adored me. The kids loved me. Suddenly everybody was my buddy for the first time in my life. 3 weeks of it was all I could take. Then I went back to the old ways. If they preferred that brand over me, the hell with them.
Monday, I met the cutest boy. All night long he told me I was afraid of life. If he calls me, I'll die. Tuesday, He called me up for a date. All night long, he confused me about who I am. If he likes me, I'll die. Wednesday, he says he loves me. All night long, he warned me he'll hurt me. If he touches me, I'll die. Thursday, he says he wants to marry me. All night long, he said that living with my mother was a stifling existence. If I say yes to him, I'll die. Friday, I said yes. All night long, he said that he was my last chance to escape my bourgeois background. If I marry him, I'll die. Saturday, the wedding's set for tomorrow. All night long, my mother told me I'm ruining my life. On the way to the church, I'll die. Sunday, we're married. Tonight, I die! Monday. He eats like a pig. He drinks like a fish. He slept the whole morning away. I guess I won't die.
A dance to the loss of innocence. In this dance, I have symbolized youth, its hopes, its wishes, its dreams, its choice of friends, of lovers, of gods. Youth, bright and eager to search life for its meaning, certain in the knowledge that it will find that meaning. And then comes disillusion, the disappointment of friends, the inadequacy of lovers, the failure of gods, the gaining of bitter insights. There is no one who doesn't lie. There is nothing incorruptible. They are all cheats and out to get you. Don't believe a single one of the no good, dirty. Forget it. I don't feel like dancing.
I'm always right about everything. I can always tell which friends will betray me moments before I put my trust in them. But still, I trust them. I know in my bones what a man is going to try with me the minute we lift our first drink. And still I drink it. I can tell the instant I make new promises to myself that I intend to break them, and still I make them. I know the second people say that I'm doing better, that they must be lying. But still I believe them. I can see the end of every experience before I begin it, and still I begin it. For me, getting out of bed in the morning is an act of false confidence.
I hate myself. I hate myself. I hate myself. I dislike myself. I like 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 myself. I love myself. Begin again.
So I'm going out with this girl for the first time, and we're going to the movies. And as usual, I'm throwing out my breadcrumbs. When she asks me what is it I'm doing, and I tell her I'm throwing out breadcrumbs so I can find my way home. Because I have this bad sense of direction. So she laughs, but it's a big joke. And I say, I don't see why my personal problem should make such a big joke. And she says, look, don't worry, I'll take you home. So I got mad. I said, look, we each have our own way of finding ourselves. Who is to say yours is better than mine? And she says, look, you can't make a whole life's philosophy out of breadcrumbs. So right out on the street we had a fight, and I got so mad I walked away, and I completely forgot to follow my breadcrumbs. And an amazing thing happened. I had absolutely no trouble getting home. It seems to make my whole past life invalid.
It can't be Harvey. Harvey knows I have 8 house calls. Turns out it was Harvey. Am I my brother's doctor?
No, he's in Acapulco.
Oh, yeah. Now, look, before anything happens between us, there's something I've got to tell you, and I hope that it won't make a difference.
No, it can't be all that serious.
I'm married.
I'm glad you told me.
Well, what do you think?
About what?
About us. Does it make any difference to you? My being married, that is?
Of course not. Why should it?
Why should it? Well, why shouldn't it? Now, you may have the wrong idea about me. I don't fool around a hell of a lot.
Honest, honey, it doesn't matter in the least to me.
Oh, it doesn't, does it? Well, maybe this will. I love my wife very much.
Marvelous. Are there any kids?
Look, I don't know what you're trying to pull, but as long as I've gone this far, you may as well know the complete truth. To me, you're a one-night adventure.
And that's what you ought to be, honey. After all, I'm married, too.
You? Married?
Sure.
I didn't know.
You see my kids?
No, for God's sake, please don't.
Look, Sugar, you want to forget the whole thing?
You won't think I'm unmanly.
Honey, to me, you're a tiger.
What a truly wonderful woman. If I weren't a happily married man, that little girl's husband would have to watch out.
By the time Frank told me he was leaving on a business trip for a month, I had lost all feeling for him. Each dinner when he'd come, I'd try and rekindle the flame, but all I could think of was he gobbled up my chicken, so all I am is a servant to you, Frank. So when he announced he had to go away, I was delighted. While Frank was away, I could find myself again. I could make plans. The first week Frank was away, I went out 7 times. Telephone never stopped ringing. I had a marvelous time. Second week Frank was away, I got tired. Same old faces, same old lines. I remembered what drove me to marry Frank in the first place. Third week Frank was away, I felt closer to him than I had in years. I stayed home, I read Jane Austen. And slept on Frank's side of the bed. Fourth week Frank was away, I fell madly in love with him. I hated myself for my withdrawal, my failure of him. And the fifth week, Frank came home. And the minute he walked in the door and said, "I'm back, darling," I withdrew. I can hardly wait for his next business trip.
Sometimes I feel small. And sometimes I feel larger than life! Sometimes I feel crushed. And sometimes I feel like a king. And sometimes I feel slow. And sometimes I feel like a wit. But most of the time I feel just like me. So I drink.
Any shows then early away. Just a black night.
So the first date, we exploded together like a couple of bombs. Talked about everything. Most exciting evening of my life. On the second date, we talked half the night away discussing our first date. She told me all of her insights about me. I disclosed all of mine about her. On the third date, we analyzed closely how we both acted on the second date. How we both were a little tense. How we both were afraid of disappointment. On the fourth date, we examined closely all that had happened on the third date. The obvious competitiveness, the growing hostility. On the fifth date. On the fifth date, we spent the night taking apart the fourth date. She pointed out my self-pity, and I promised to correct it. I pointed out her air of domination. She promised to correct it. On the sixth date... On the sixth date, we focused for the course of the evening on the fifth date. Our mutual anxiety, our use of self-exposure to keep us from physical contact. On the seventh date, we went to the movies. I loved it. She hated it. I never realized what an insensitive person she was. On the eighth date, I took her to a party. Met a marvelous girl. We exploded together like two bombs. Most exciting evening of my life. Wow. I had no idea she was such a passionate person. This could be something good. I could use something good right now, something to build up my pride, my self-esteem. All the rotten backbiting going on down at the office. I swear I'm not going to stand for much more. I deserve some credit. Not that my family would ever admit it now, not them. They never wait to hear my side. Judge! Somebody sitting in judgment. It's just like in the movie night when Paul Newman said to Sophia Loren.
I better go in, Bernard. I had no idea you were such a passionate person.
Sunday morning.
You have contempt for me.
I love you.
Then why do you treat me as if I'm stupid?
I love you.
But you have no interest in my opinions.
I love you.
But when your friends are around, you behave as if I'm invisible.
I love you.
Then why do you act as if you don't like me?
Who says I like you? I just love you. The day I met Sylvia, I was sure I had met my dream girl. Don't think of me as your dream girl, Sylvia warned me. If you do, I'm bound to disappoint you. But I said to Sylvia, that's exactly what my dream girl would say. And we got married. After 7 years, I said to Sylvia, all we ever talk about is money. And I've come to the conclusion, you're not my dream girl. So I left Sylvia to think things over. What I decided was that while Sylvia had her shortcomings, she still had a better body than all of my friends' wives. When I returned home, this dumpy, middle-aged woman answered the door. Where's Sylvia? I demanded. I'm Sylvia, she said. So I threw her out. I don't care how long she knocks. I'm not letting in any strangers until the Sylvia I settled for comes home.
I go out on the street late at night to an empty spot where there are no lights and no people and no houses where strangers can look out their windows and catch me. And when I'm sure I'm absolutely alone, I make faces.
Play ball!
Take me out to the bar.
stare at me, buddy boy. I can outstare you any old day. Don't stare at me. Oh, you want to stare, do you? Well, I can stare too, buddy boy. 50 seconds. 1 minute. Want to keep it up?
Play ball.
I'll throw this ball the minute that man with a bat on his shoulder blinks it out 1 second sooner. Try and outstare me, will you, buddy boy?
Play ball.
Oh, now the umpire's staring at me. Well, I can take you and your umpire friend. I ain't even getting ready to blink. It's getting awful quiet around here. Fans are staring at me. Chicken shit fans. 60,000 against 1, is it? Well, I can outstare the lot of you. Look at them all with their eyes watering. Who they bringing out of the bullpen now? A relief starer? It's my daddy. Oh, please don't make me outstare you, Daddy. Oh, the one person on this earth I don't want to have to outstare. Please don't make me, Daddy. All right. I guess it had to come to this someday. I'm waiting, old man. Tired, buddy boy? Getting tired, umpires? Getting tired, fans? Getting tired, Daddy? The moon just come out. I think it's staring at me.
We had a date for 7. You called me at 5 to tell me you weren't sure you'd be able to make it because you had to meet with your wife's lawyer. You call me at 6 to tell me you'll be able to make it after all, but you'll be delayed. You call me at 8 in a whisper to tell me you're on your way. Oh, and I'm the only woman in the world who makes your life worth living. You call me at 9 from a bar to tell me you've been delayed. You showed up at midnight, drunk, moaning about how everybody's trying to kill you. You passed out at 12:30 and left the second you woke up in the morning saying it was your day to spend with the kids. Sam, I would like to know what you call this.
Freedom!
Fred! Mine! Dude! In my revised dance to 1977, I will repeat my dances to 1976, 1975, 1974, and 1973. Nothing else gets better. Why should I?
Would you like a blindfold?
Sunglasses.
Would you like a cigarette?
A drink.
Would you like ice?
Straight up.
Would you like an explanation
For what?
for why you're being executed?
Will it make me look in the wrong?
It will make me look in the right.
If I have to be executed, I prefer to believe it's a miscarriage of justice.
I really am in the right, you know.
I don't want to hear it.
But you're guilty. Well, why should I feel guilty?
I won't listen. La 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 la.
How do you get through to them?
I married Fred so I could be free of my mother. I had children so I could be free of Fred. I took a job so I could be free of the children. I ran away with the chairman of the board so I could be free of responsibility. I went back to Fred so I could be free of guilt. I divorced Fred and gave him custody so I could get a fresh start. They will never get me alive!
wife hugs me and kisses me and begs me never to change. I sing on the bus to work, and the passengers smile and pat me on the back. I sing at work, and the boss has tears in his eyes, and I get a promotion. I sing on the street, and the stranger puts a dime in my hand and asks how in a world full of deprivation and misery are you the one man who's happy? Who's happy? I reply to the stranger, I sing to drown out my screaming.
Mother, when I first married Irene, you said you didn't want to interfere. You just wanted to walk by our window once a month and wave. Mother, after 3 months waving, you said you didn't want to get in the way. But as long as you were going by our window every day, Irene might just once invite you to dinner. Mother, after 4 months' dinner, you said you didn't want to run our lives, but in order not to get home so late every night, Irene might just once invite you to stay over. Mother, after a year's living with us, Irene said if you didn't let her do some of the cooking, cleaning, and shopping, you'd have to move out. Mother, I spoke to Irene yesterday. She wants to come back.
Not in my house.
I go to the laundromat to do a wash. Included in the wash are 8 pairs of socks. Out of the wash come 6 pairs of socks, plus 1 gray sock and 1 blue sock. A week later, I go to the laundromat to do a wash. Included in the wash are 6 pairs of socks. Out of the wash come 4 pairs of socks, plus 1 black sock and 1 green sock. A week later, I go to the laundromat to do a wash. Included in the wash are 4 pairs of socks. Out of the wash come 2 pairs of socks. The other socks never show up. The next day, I go to the laundromat. As an experiment, I put in nothing but my last 2 pairs of socks. Out of the wash comes a body stocking. Inside the body stocking, I find a note. The note reads, "Quit trifling with the laws of nature and bring the machine more socks!"
How is he, Doctor? Is there any hope?
He's out of our hands, Miss Baum. Beyond the help of that thin book of knowledge man calls medical science.
But what can I do, Doctor? I love him.
Have you tried prayer, Miss Baum?
Prayer? Did you say prayer?
I recommend you try it, Miss Baum. We here on Earth have done all that we can.
I once prayed, Doctor, a long time ago when I had dreams. But that was before...
Perhaps it would be best if I left you to your thoughts, Miss Baum.
God is great. God is good. And we thank him for our food. God is... God is... No. Hello, God. I know you haven't heard from me in a long time, God. Not since before the war. A lot of water under the bridge since then. Mama died in '43, car crash. We tried to get a doctor for her, no one would come. Then Papa deserted us and I had to take care of Sis. I was sweet 16, God. Any wonder I stopped praying? Listen, did you know we moved from Cincinnati? In 45, I think it was. Yeah, that's right, because 45 was the year Leroy got me in trouble, wouldn't marry me, so I had to go to Pennsylvania to this doctor. Then for a while we lived in Cincinnati. Did I tell you about Cincinnati? Someday, remind me. Anyways, before Cincinnati, we lived in Detroit, and then this mechanic got Sis in trouble, so I had to take her to Pennsylvania. Anyways, after that, we decided we might as well settle in Pennsylvania, and wouldn't you know it, neither one of us got in trouble after that. Ain't that the limit? Listen, God, am I boring you? Anyways, where was I? Oh, Sis finally settled in L.A. She married an actor, so-called. He beat her up awful, God. Had her paying the rent and everything. She had to work as a car hop. I was sick for a year. Sis sent me money. I spent it on doctors. That's a lot of good it did me. Listen, did I tell you the part about Leroy showing up again? Listen, if I'm boring you, just tell me. Somehow. Anyways, Leroy showed up again in Des Moines. He was a changed man, he said. He was a rat god. He beat me up awful. And out of the clear blue sky, Bill came along. The only decent things ever happened to me. A good, clean, hard-working man. Bought us a house in Tulsa, and we were doing fine. Sis moved in with us. Bill was like a brother to her. One big, happy family. Then Bill started getting these funny pains. Well, we made Bill see a doctor. The doctor said it was nothing, and we forgot about it. But the pains came back. The doctor said it was gas, and we forgot about it, but they kept coming back, God. Say, will you listen to me? Ain't I an awful talker? Anyways, finally Sis and I put Bill in the hospital. The doctor said there was nothing to worry about. Then they took the x-rays. The doctor said he was dying. The doctor said it was out of their hands. The doctor said that all I could do was pray. So, to make a long story short, that's what I'm doing here, God. Are you listening? I haven't been a good woman. I've sinned more than my share. But if you do this one thing for me, whatever happened in the past, I know I'll believe again. Don't take Bill, God. Bill don't deserve it. If you gotta take somebody, God, don't take Bill. Take the doctor.
Dad's too home.
Look, I hate to tell you this,
This dance we celebrate the spirit of renewal in the land.
but because of the economic downturn, we've had to make certain adjustments.
A return to sharing.
And the first adjustment is, you're fired.
A return to dignity and self-respect.
Say, didn't you hear me?
I'm sorry, but you can't fire an artist.
But you're fired! You're fired!
We dance to the sound of a different employer.
But you're fired! Stop dancing! You're fired! She's fired.
Aha!
Other people always disappointed Walter Fay.
Traitors.
Other people were always either ignoring him,
I'm a person.
or rejecting him,
I'm a person.
or betraying him.
I'm not a person.
This made Walter Fay sulk a lot.
And my problem is other people. By myself, I get along fine, but it's only one person. I'm only half of me. If you put me in a room with two people, I'm a tenth of me. You put me in a room with a mob, and I'm nobody. The more people I'm with, the less of me it is who's there. The more I'm alone, the more of me there is to be alone with.
And so he'd regularly vow never to go out again.
Who needs them? Free? Why wouldn't I be free? Is 9 o'clock too early?
Walter Fay was the kind of man who hated parties.
It's my policy.
He always said,
There's no such thing as a real conversation at a party.
he always
I've
said,
never met a girl I liked at a party.
he always said,
I really don't know why I go.
Walter Fay regularly fell in love at every party he went to.
There's no such thing as real conversation at a party. I've never met a man I liked at a party. I really don't know why I go.
I love you!
Eventually, his love always disappointed him,
I'm busy tomorrow.
ignored him,
I'm busy the day after tomorrow.
rejected him,
I'm busy the day after tomorrow.
and betrayed him.
Anyway, you're too short. The world had no time for Walter Fay. He tried to be alone, but it was too hard.
Only not being alone didn't depend on other people.
Nobody ever called him. He always had to call other people.
Other people must have very small phone bills.
So one day, Walter Fay made a decision. If other people didn't need him, he wouldn't need other people.
Other people are my enemy.
And that's how he saw his life up till now. A battle between himself and his enemies. When it was between himself and a girl, he called it Battle of the Sexes.
Castrator!
When it was between himself and the boss, he called it class warfare.
Fascist!
When it was between himself and his family, he called it neurosis.
Psychopaths!
Walter Fay well knew that one did not go to his enemies for assistance. One went to his friends.
I'm my only friend. If only I could talk and never have to listen. If only I could take and never be forced to give. If only I could get for myself what other people have for themselves.
So one day, Walter Fay went down to his basement workshop and invented himself a lonely machine.
It's mine! It's all mine! I never have been it's all mine before.
The lonely machine did whatever he wanted it to do. It listened to him. It went for long walks in the country with him. It looked at the stars with him.
See the handle?
Walter Fay invented it a voice so it could say nice things.
What do they know? You're better.
Yeah!
There was not a need Walter Fay had that the machine did not answer. It was a mother to him.
When you're in trouble, who's the only one you can turn to?
My machine.
It was a father to him.
Are you sure you've made a wise decision, my Walter?
Maybe you're right.
It was his lover.
Daisies! I love daisies!
Machines can't afford much, but you, Walter, deserve the best.
For the first time in his life, Walter Fay could be himself with another. He could let loose. He could be aggressive.
Argue. All you do is argue. Go to your room.
Yes, Walter.
Oh.
He could feel self-pity.
Sorry, all you feel is sorry for yourself. Go to your room.
Yes, machine.
He could be forgiving.
I was wrong, my machine. Wrong, wrong.
I won't listen, Walter. It was I.
Walter Fay had a relationship. He swelled with a new assurance.
You notice anything different about me, my machine?
You'll always be the same to me, Walter. Perfect.
But being perfect where he had always been perfect was not enough for Walter Fay.
You seem strangely quiet tonight. Is anything bothering you?
He wanted to be perfect on enemy ground.
I think I'll go for a walk.
He started going to parties again.
Who's that devastating man with a self-satisfied smile on his face?
Now that he didn't need anyone, didn't care for anyone, he began being invited everywhere.
Sorry, old machine. Dinner out again. The Kissingers.
Have a nice time, Walter. Don't worry about me.
He knew the machine was hurt, but he also knew something else, that he enjoyed hurting the machine. He was philosophical about it.
That's life. Taxi!
He played the machine against his new friends and his new friends against the machine.
Can't see you tomorrow night, kids. Duty calls at home, you know.
Have a nice time, Walter. Don't worry about us.
But home wasn't as much fun as it used to be.
You're bored with me.
But don't be foolish.
You never have anything to say to me.
There's simply nothing to say.
Walter, who hears the secrets you once told
Will
me?
you kindly stop your nagging?
Walter, what was my crime? What was my terrible crime?
Have a date.
Walter Fay started coming home later and later. He always hoped the machine would be asleep. It never was.
Drinking again, eh?
I'm sorry, Walter.
The point was that Walter Fay needed something when he needed it, and not clearly now.
Lonely machines are splendid, but they have their place.
Walter Fay had outgrown his machine.
It's nobody's fault.
One day he made an announcement.
The machine, old friend, it's not going to be easy for me to tell you this.
Break my heart. I've been expecting it.
I'm bringing a young lady to live here next week, and
Break my heart. I've been expecting it.
I see no reason why the three of us can't be happy together.
Oh, Walter, then you still want me?
But in the beginning, until she gets used to you, would you mind not saying anything?
I've been expecting it.
And so, a stranger named Mercedes moved into the home of Walter Fay and the machine.
When you're in trouble, who's the only one you can turn to?
My Mercedes.
She was a bother to him.
Are you sure you made a wise decision, my Walter?
Maybe you're right.
She was his lover.
Oh, Walter, you hurt me.
Did I really?
But at odd moments when Mercedes was out organizing a charity drive, Walter Fay would take out his lonely machine.
So how are things?
Not bad, and you?
But there no longer seemed to be any contact.
So how are things? So how are things? So how are things?
And receiving no answer, he put it into the upstairs closet and never took it out again. And there it remained, until one day Mercedes happened upon it. Oh, Walter, what a lovely surprise! A dressmaker's dummy.
And she made many dresses and gave many parties. And Walter Fay never felt disappointed, ignored, rejected, or betrayed, or any other feeling again.
It dance to summer. In this dance, I celebrate becoming all freer me, meditating me, losing weight me, and more in touch with my body me, and eating proper foods me, an entirely new me, instead of the old me, dead me, rejected me, compulsive me, fat me, depressed me, self-hating me,
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning.
Mornings, I hate. Going on the bus to work. I hate work. I hate going home from work. I hate. Sometimes I think, what a relief to escape all this and get married. And then I remember, I am married.
Will you marry me?
Why do you ask me to marry you?
Because you've got a rose in your teeth. I'm a fool for a woman who carries a rose in her teeth.
But what if I hurt you?
Oh, would you? And not too much, of course. I'd be hurt just a little by a woman with a rose in her teeth. Wow.
What if I were unfaithful?
Hot dog! To have a woman with a rose in her teeth unfaithful to me? Somehow I never thought I'd rise to that.
What if I consumed you with my strange and insatiable appetite?
Oh, boy. Not all at once, mind you, but a little bit at a time. A rose in her teeth, that's more than I ever hoped for.
What if I took this rose out of my teeth?
Gladys.
I'll put it back!
The one thing I should have been. I'm not. Fred Astaire. But I don't have the talent or the discipline to be Fred Astaire, so I do the next best thing. I tap dance my way through life. I tap dance my way through relationships, around my family, in and out of personal crises. At times I wish I could slow down long enough for some Ginger Rogers to catch me. And when one of them comes too close, I tap dance away. Sensational but isolated, I dance on! The curse of Fred Astaire.
Do me a favor. Dial a number. Ask whoever answers if they love me. What do they say? Do me a favor. Dial the police. Tell them to arrest the number that doesn't love me. What do they say?
They're coming here to get you.
Do me a favor. Dial my mother. Tell her this is her fault. What does she say?
Oh, her line is busy.
Do me a favor. Dial my answering service. Ask them for the answer. What do they say?
No, they don't answer.
What are you trying to do to me?
What do you do?
Win!
What line of work are you in?
Winning!
Well, what do you like to do to relax?
Win!
Well, what do you like to do for fun with your wife?
Win!
What do you like to do for fun with your kids?
Win!
When you go off on vacation, what do you like to do?
Win!
What in life do you fear the most?
Fear?
Have you never known the emotion of fear?
Emotion?
You.
Son, I can't tell you how sorry I am to say this, but you're not working out. It's not your fault. When you were born, I thought you were the finest specimen of child I'd ever seen. But I don't feel at home with you. I can't be myself with you. I hate spending time with you. I could spend with adults I enjoy. I've lost 5 of the best years of my life acting like a parent. It's enough. So, here's a check for $10,000 and a one-way bus ticket to Miami. Goodbye, son. Avoid major commitments.
You don't help me. You don't try to understand me. You're never there when I need you. You don't protect me. You don't love me.
But Mother,
I'm the parent. Oh. I used to wonder how I'd stand up to the worst moment in my life. I stood up to the depression, but I didn't think it was the worst moment in my life. I stood up to my parents' deaths, but I didn't think it was the worst moment in my life. I stood up to my husband cheating on me, but I didn't think it was the worst moment in my life. I stood up to my children deserting me, but I didn't think it was the worst moment in my life. The worst moment in my life is when I realized this is my life. I don't know if I can stand up to it.
Dolly, Please let go, Dolly. You've got to let go sometime. Love is more than mere possession. Love is giving rather than taking, freeing rather than enslaving. Love is... Please, loosen your grip, Dolly. If you're afraid to let go, it means you don't trust me. If you don't trust me, it means you're afraid I'll leave you. If you're afraid I'll leave you, it means you don't have any respect for yourself. If you don't have any respect for yourself, then in time you'll force me to lose respect for you. If I lose respect for you, I'll want to leave you. But with a looser hold, you're free to go your way. I, free to go mine, will be so much happier. Try to see it my way, don't we?
Me free to go my way.
Why, yes.
That doesn't sound so bad.
One night, driving home to evening cocktails, I was suddenly struck through the windshield by the rays of the full moon. I grew body hair, and pointed ears, and cloven hooves, and a tail. And I thought, at last, it's the real me! And with fear, secretly mingled with delight, I arrived home, where my wife said, "Your dinner's cold," and stopped looking at me in that accusing way. And my little boy said, "All the other fathers are good at fixing things, and you've got fingers like claws." And my little girl said, "Why do I have to have the only father on the block who's different?" So I ate them all up! Werewolves really shouldn't marry. Who's there?
Ruthie!
Ruthie who?
Ruthie, your own true love.
Is it really my Ruthie?
Yes?
Not Muggers.
No, Harvey?
Not the FBI.
No, Harvey?
It's really Ruthie, who loves me, stands by me, and is the one person in the world I can trust.
Right. It's me, Ruthie. Open up.
Oh, Ruthie!
One false move, Harvey, and we blow your skull off! What you guys always forget is that we do a great Ruthie impression. So, I said to him, "You're on the wrong track, Phil. Man is not basically evil. Man is neither basically good nor evil."
Perfectly reasonable.
I said to him, "You're oversimplifying, Phil. No one denies that man commits great sins, but don't just look on the dark side. Look at the force for good he's been."
Perfectly reasonable.
I said to him, "You're over-analytical, Phil. Man does not do good to alleviate some fancy sense of guilt as you think. When man does good, it's because he is good. When man does evil, it's because society has made him that way."
Perfectly reasonable.
I said to him, "You're too much the pessimist, Phil. Certainly we move slowly, but if all of us in our own lives make as good a job of it as we can, as parents, as teachers, as businessmen, as citizens, then little by little the world has to become a better place to live in."
Perfectly reasonable.
Not according to Phil. He laughed in my face and called me an idiot liberal.
How awful. What did you do?
What could I do? I killed him.
Perfectly reasonable.
I went out. I got mugged. I resisted. I got stabbed. After I got better, I went out. I got mugged. I didn't resist. I got stabbed. After I got better, I didn't go out. I got burglarized. So I went back out. Who needs people like that in my home?
In this dance, I celebrate!
Survival.
I celebrate survival!
winter.
Yeah, but I give it love always before. When I gave it love, it grew in winter.
Apparently it got used to love. Now it demands something else to grow in winter.
What else can I give it? I give it water, I give it plant food, I give it love. What else is there to give?
Have you tried money?
My flower would not accept money.
Hey, it's just a suggestion. Of course, if you're afraid to see what would happen.
I am not afraid. I know what would happen. Oh, okay, look. Here, flower. Here's $5.
Look, it's growing.
Here's $10.
Look at it grow.
Here's $100.
Good heavens, it's a tree. Congratulations. Your flower has an excellent mind for business.
Ah, my flower's a sellout.
A flower! I found a flower.
I found a flower.
My flower is big and beautiful and extremely robust.
That's true.
Your flower is dark and ungainly and may not live till morning.
Certainly will be a struggle.
I love my flower for its richness and grandeur.
I love my flower for all its spiritual values.
What spiritual values?
My flower is a tragic flower. It has soul. It has poetry.
Just because my flower is bigger, it can't have poetry.
My flower must struggle for hourly survival. It's taken with the basics. It broods about deep things.
Are you calling my flower superficial?
Your flower is rich. It probably has a leisure problem.
I suddenly feel like beating your flower over the head with my flower.
My flower would die, lovingly.
I apologize. I have a vulgar flower.
My flower truly understands.
30 years ago, I won a Pulitzer Prize for journalism.
Oh, there you go.
My father said, so what? 3 years later, I won the National Book Award for fiction.
Terrific.
My father said, big deal. 5 years later, I won the Tony Award for playwriting.
Oh, my goodness, that's incredible.
My father said, when are you going to make some money? 8 years later, I won the Academy Award for everything.
Yeah! Oh, yeah!
My father said, who needs it? 13 years later, I won the Nobel Prize for Peace. My father dropped dead. Who says you can't win them all?
A dance to summer. In this dance, I celebrate torpor, sitting around, lying around, getting tan, turning over. Thank God for art.
Do you believe in life after death?
What do you call this? Either or. That's my life. Either I love people, or I hate them. Either I'm obsessive about my work, or I'm bored. Either I talk too much, or I'm mute. Either I'm overly aggressive, or I'm passive. Either I'm compassionate, or I'm a cold fish. If I don't train myself out of this mindless extremism, I'll kill myself!
It all started when I was a little kid. When I was playing ball. I was in a tight spot. So inside my head, I started announcing my way through the ball game. Okay, the count is 3 and 2. Joey steps off the mound. He digs a toe into the dirt. Okay, he's back in now. He checks the runners, he's into the windup, and here's the pitch. From that moment on, inside my head, I announced my way through everything. School, for instance. Second hand is ticking away. 3 minutes to go in the history exam. Joey can't seem to come up with an answer to question 5. He looks out the window, he picks at a nail, he looks over at the other kids, and is he? Yes, he is. He picks up his pen. And even after I got out of school, the supervisor is looking over Joey's shoulder. Joey pretends to be busy. The supervisor has noticed a mistake. Joey can't seem to listen. The supervisor asks Joey if he understands. Joey says he does. Joey stares out the window. The supervisor moves on. I even announced my way through my marriage. Joey has nothing to say. Joey's wife has nothing to say. Joey's father-in-law says, "Isn't it time you were making serious plans, Joey?" Joey digs a toe into the carpet and stares out the window. Joey's little boy says, "Fix it, Daddy." And so it goes. Early in the morning to late at night. Even in bed. Joey pounds his pillow. He closes one eye. He closes the other. He feels sleep coming. It's coming. Joey's wide awake. Joey sneaks downstairs and makes himself a drink. Joey wants to scream.
Every morning before Joey could see me dead and lousy, I dragged out of bed and took 100 milligrams of sphenocoagulate, which gave me energy through breakfast. After which, I fell into a suicidal depression. Taking for it 250 milligrams of phenethylamine in order to be cheerful when Joey made his afternoon phone call. After which, I fell into a suicidal depression until just before dinner, when I had 2 martinis in order to be vivacious when Joey got home from work. After which, I hid in the kitchen with a suicidal depression until 10:30, when I had 500 milligrams of diphenocane in order to be alert at bedtime when Joey discussed his day at the office. Oh. After which I had 750 milligrams of osculovino and slept soundly through the night. That morning, I woke up, dragged myself into the bathroom, and found I was all out of everything. When Joey came down to breakfast, he screamed, "Who are you? And what have you done with Dorothy?"
I grew up to have my father's looks, my father's speech patterns, my father's posture, my father's walk, my father's opinions, and my mother's contempt for my father.
So you see, dear Bernard, while I think you're sweet and kind and good, I can never love you. Why, Bernard, you hit me.
Yes, I did. You want to see me do it again?
But that is so unlike you. You are not violent.
No, I'm not violent, and where has it gotten me? It's gotten me to be sweet and kind and good. You want to get hit again?
What is wrong with being sweet and kind and good?
I'll tell you what's wrong. I'm being swallowed alive. I'm the slave to my sweetness, my kindness, my goodness. Boy, do I feel like smacking you. What does solving solve? Nothing solves nothing. What's wrong with hitting? That's my philosophy. Stand still. I think I'll punch you.
I'm warning you. You lay one finger on me and I'm gonna knock your teeth out.
Somehow I feel cleaner than I have in months.
Violence, how much better than hurting you with words.
Man.
Man.
Man is...
Man is...
Man is imitated.
Man is imitated.
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
You prove my point.
Prove my point.
Man.
Man.
Man is...
Man is...
Man is... violent.
Man is violent.
Man is isolated.
On rare occasions, the day is so beautiful. The sky is so blue, the trees are so green, the fields are so golden, and my children are so dear that all I can think of is dying.
A dance. Oh. In this dance, I ask the question, is life worth dancing? And they come up with two answers, yes and no. I'm thus inspired to keep on dancing to perfect both answers, yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and
No! I live inside a shell that is inside a wall
Bernard!
that is inside a fort
Bernard! Bernard!
that is inside a tunnel
Bernard! Bernard!
that is under the sea
Bernard!
where I'm safe from you. If you really loved me, you'd find